So you basically just came off the road now from Europe with Body Count. Tell us a little bit about how it's been for you. What is the reception like? I mean, I find it amazing that the band is still going. I heard Body Count, I think it was in the 90s. Yeah. And yeah, so how was your touring experience?
It was good. We started off in Poland, Mystic Festival. We did 22 shows. It went into July. All the headliner shows are either sold out or to the hilt, meaning like packed. And the festivals are the festivals. The festivals were amazing. A lot of good highlights. Some of my favorites were like Copenhagen in Denmark.
Oh, wow.
Grass Pop in Belgium. It was great. Hellfest in France. I mean, there were just so many. Numi Rock, that was a good one too. We did a lot of stuff, and we got to try out some new material. We just released a song called Psychopath.
Yeah, I saw.
Yeah, so we played that one, and we also played a new song that's not released yet from the new record coming out later this year, the new Body Count record called Merciless.
Merciless, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, we tried some new material out, so that was fun. And since we talked, we released a new single called Fuck What You Heard, I think a week or two ago. And yeah, we're just getting ready for some shows here in the US. And yeah, Europe was amazing.
Oh man, I can imagine. So tell me, does Body Count play smaller club venues, or is it mainly bigger clubs and festivals?
No, we do smaller club venues. I mean, on this Merciless tour we did in Europe, we did a few smaller venues, but they were still kind of big. But yeah, we've done small venues. I like small venues. It's a little more intimate, you know.
Yeah.
Those are always fun. We did one not too long ago for during COVID for Vakken. We did like one of those. It was live from the Whiskey A Go Go. Live at Wacken. It was, yeah. I mean, we've done Vakken before on the main stage, but this one was like a club setting, so it was kind of cool. They filmed it and then they broadcasted it. It was live, but they broadcasted like a few hours later.
Oh yeah, yeah. Wacken must be a crazy experience. I mean, I've witnessed that festival when it was still small.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm talking like 40,000 people, and that for me was already enough. And now it's like bordering on or heading strongly towards 90,000, and already booked out for next year almost. So
yeah, crazy. We got Evildead got a chance to play there last year, and that was an amazing experience for the band. And we hope to return again with either band, Body Count or Evildead. It's, you know, Vakken's always a memorable experience as a musician and a fan as well. You get to see some really great bands.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, definitely. Well, to just now we've talked Body Count, but for our viewers, you've obviously got a long history. You go way back. But I think I'm going to rewind way back. What got you into music? Do you come from a musical family? Was it a song that triggered you? Was it a riff? Was it a guitarist? What?
Thinking back, I would have to say the Kiss Alive album. When I first heard Kiss Alive, just songs like Cold Gin, Black Diamond. I mean, you know, all that stuff off Kiss Alive got me into rock and heavy metal, you know, and then later on, of course, bands like Accept and stuff like that. The new wave of British heavy metal. But off the top of my head, I would say Kiss Alive.
Yeah, that is actually cited by quite a few people if you ask them.
Yeah,
as the trigger point.
It is a trigger point, and then later on, Judas Priest Unleashed in the East. That was another amazing record. So normally, back then it was like the live records, just listening to the live records, that experience of hearing it live kind of triggers a young person into music more so than a studio album. For me, it was always the live records.
Yeah. I hear you. I think for me it was probably Live to Death in terms of live. Maiden's Live to Death, and I wasn't privy to. I wasn't lucky to hear Unleashed in the East beforehand. The Priest one I heard was Priest Live. Obviously, that was the turbo era, but still the sort of live feeling that really.
Another great couple of records. It was Made in Japan by Iron Maiden, the EP. That was one for sure that kept the spirit of metal going for me. And even digging back a little bit, the Deep Purple live album from Japan, that was another one that was, Richie Blackmore's guitar playing is amazing.
Yeah, he's phenomenal. Crazy.
Yeah, for sure.
So anyway, but now for the viewers again, we've just touched on the origins sort of, but you have a resume reaching back to a band called Abattoir.
Yeah.
Which was your, correct me if I'm wrong, your first, what shall I call it, a bigger act?
It was my first band that I released an album with. Pretty much was my first band. I mean, I was in a cover band before that. Believe it or not, Abattoir was a cover band before we went all original. We used to play the LA circuit. But yeah, the first album, Vicious Attack, I co-wrote 4 songs on that. I'm not credited for playing on it, but I did co-write and played on those records with Mark Caro and Mel Sanchez on bass.
Okay.
It's one of my favorite albums that I've done.
It's awesome. I listened to.
Yeah, Abattoir was kind of ahead of the time at the time. We came out around the same time as Slayer, and Metallica. Metallica moved up to the San Francisco area, but we were around. We had a song on the radio called "Screams from the Grave." It was off a demo at the time, and then we released the first album on Combat Records, Vicious Attack.
Yeah, and you've got speaking of covers, you've got a Motorhead cover on there, huh?
Yeah, we did a Motorhead cover way back in the day.
Ace of Spades, yeah.
Ace of Spades, yeah. It was one of our closing songs. We would close our live set out at the time, and Motorhead being a big influence on us.
Really awesome album. I listened to it again the other day, and it's just interesting to see how things evolved over the last few decades. That was, I mean, for me, in my opinion, correct me if I'm wrong, but like speed metal, like melodic, fast-paced. And nowadays, what gets termed speed metal is probably something different. And it's the same with power metal. What used to be power metal in the 80s is now stuff like Abattoir and Halloween, that kind of stuff. So
yeah.
This sort of name has changed meaning.
Yeah, the lines get blurred a bit. That's why I don't really like to categorize music.
I was about to say.
Yeah, I understand why people categorize it because there's so many subgenres of music. When we started off, it was really just rock and roll and heavy metal. And then it got into the speed and thrash metal and stuff like that. We consider ourselves heavy metal, and then that means in Abattoir, and then like Agent Steel was more speed metal, and Evildead is more thrash metal. So I don't know what Body Count is. Body Count is just hardcore, I suppose, or a lot of different influences.
I would probably place it there as well. Yeah.
Yeah. We have hints of a lot of different styles for sure.
I mean, if you look back, the new wave of British metal used to include Def Leppard, so there was no at that time. At that time, it wasn't who's fast, who's slow, who's this, who's that. So I guess it gets more intense by the year almost. I mean,
for sure. That's why I love the festivals in Europe. They cover so many different varieties of styles, and it's awesome.
Yeah, definitely. So the next step on your journey takes you to the mighty Agent Steel, bringing out albums like Skeptic's Apocalypse, Unstoppable Force, and Mad Locust Rising, the EP.
Yes.
So that was you broke away. Obviously, I think you had mentioned that the signals were all systems go for Agent, and so you made the jump.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we were doing. I was doing Abattoir at the time, and we were on Combat Records, and I had left the band to launch Agent Steel, and our debut album was on the Skeptic's Apocalypse record, like you mentioned. I think came out August 1985. It's considered a classic. There's a really good songs on there.
Absolutely.
A lot of credit to John Cyrus for the vocals and a lot of the music as well. Great album. That led to the Mad Locust Rising EP in '86, and then the classic Unstoppable Force came out, I think, in '87, late '87. We did that at Morrisound Studios with Jim and Tom Morris.
Classic. I mean, you must have been one of the first bands. Was it next to Sabotage to record that?
Sabotage and
Nasty Savage.
Yeah, which ironically enough, Ben Meyer, the guitarist, and Nasty Ronnie came down to our recording sessions, and they sang backup on the song "Rager." Yeah,
Rager.
That's a cool song. It's one of my favorite records. I mean, I love the instrumental, "The Day of Guyana," and guitar solo on "The Traveler" that Bernie plays is just so it has so much feel and vibe. It's the whole album pretty much is pretty amazing actually, and enjoy it.
Look, it's legendary material. I mean, I remember when my first contact with Skeptics was, I couldn't believe it. For me, it was such high adrenaline, the speed and the soaring vocals. I couldn't fathom it. I think I spun that record until it was thin.
Yeah, Kerrang! Magazine labeled us Iron Maiden on speed, and that's what it really was. We were influenced a lot by Iron Maiden and the new wave of British heavy metal bands like Judas Priest or early records like Sin After Sin, stuff like that. And we just kind of sped it up a little bit,
because it wasn't just fast. It was highly melodic.
It was fun, man. I mean, music is supposed to be fun and creative, and that's what we were doing. And we had a really good time doing the Skeptics album. And of course, Unstoppable Force as well. So even the EP was great.
No, absolutely. No, really legendary material. I spin it quite often, actually, privately. So definitely. So I have to interject here quickly. You mentioned Bernie. Now, I'm jumping a little bit. I think you worked together. I mean, I think Bernie was involved in the Mark II version of Agent Steel.
Yes.
And then you had Masters of Metal, but did he fall ill?
Yeah. It's a little confusing. What happened was, this is like, after I was doing Evildead at the time, and we took a break for a while. The band broke up in the '90s, and Bernie was doing a tour with Fates Warning as a second guitarist. And when he came back from Europe, he goes, "Hey man, there's a lot of Agent Steel fans. We got some interest to do some shows. We should think about it." And so we got together and jammed, and man, it was like riding a bike. The songs came back really easy mentally, and we were able to just play no problem. So we got the band back together. Well, we had a different vocalist at the time. We brought in Bruce Hall, original drummer Chuck Profis. So that was the Mach 2 era. We recorded a record called Omega Conspiracy. Our first show, I think, was at Wacken. You know, so it launched.
Great record.
Yeah, it launched a couple records. After that, we did Order Illuminati and Alien Enigma. Those are the the Mach 2 version of Agent Steel, and then then John Cyrus rejoined the band we did Thrash Domination in Japan, but I think I can't remember the exact date. I want 2010 or something like that. So we had a little run with the Bruce Hall era, and John rejoined, and we did a couple shows, Japan, 2 shows in Japan, and we did Sweden Rock, and then that was it for that. For me, with Agent Steel, I left to start doing Evildead and Body Count. John continues to do Agent Steel, and he has my blessing. He's put some good music together, and I wish him nothing but the best.
Yeah, they brought out something New Gods. I don't know. I actually know the guitarist that Nikolai Tanisov, who played on that album, and he's part of the live.
I heard a couple songs. I mean, it sounds like Agent Steel. I mean, as long as they go out and play the songs, it's all good.
Yeah, for sure. So, but getting back to Bernie, he fell ill or something. I'm not sure if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that. I'm sorry. What happened was we were, after Japan, we were doing this thing called Masters of Metal, which was like a 4-piece band. Basically, we had Agent Steel material written that we never used, so we rewrote everything, just scrapped it and started all over again. And it was the lineup was me, Bernie, and Rigo Amesqua which was a drummer on the Alien Enigma record and the Order Illuminati record, and he toured Europe with us as well. And this shows with Agent Steel. So, and then Robert Cardenas on bass, which I remember that. Which is now he's playing with Possessed now, and they're getting ready to go out with Creator and stuff, and Testament, which is awesome for them. I wish them nothing but the best. And so that was a 4-piece band. We decided, Bernie always wanted to sing, so we just he sang on some demos, and we go, you know what, for this project, that's what you want to do. Let's just do it. So he sang on it, and we did an EP. We put it out on No Remorse Records, and then later on, we did a full-length album from Worlds Beyond. I think Metalville put that out, a German label. And what happened was Bernie sustained a brain injury, and it fucking sucks. Yeah, dude. So we kind of just, he's okay. He recovered. He just, took a break from the whole music business, and we just put everything on the shelf as far as Masters of Metal and yeah. And I wish him the best, man. It sucks when stuff like that happens.
Yeah, it does, and also a stellar musician. I mean,
oh, absolutely, great producer too as well. Great engineer, great producer. I mean, the guy is very talented. He did some video editing as well. I mean, he's just all around talented, great person.
Well, that leads us to obviously one of the main sort of pillars of the discussion, Evildead.
Yeah.
Just me thinking back now, I mean, I look at the music, obviously stellar. That's the kind of thrash I dig. But also the artwork. I mean, that's when you obviously kept your artwork in that style. I mean, albeit you've worked with Edward Repka in the past, and now you've I think you've got someone else now, but you retain that style.
Yeah, Ed Repka illustrations. He did the Annihilation record, the Underworld, on this, and also the United States of Anarchy record that we put out October 2020. On this new record, we had Dan Goldsworthy do the album cover. He's done stuff for Accept and Aborted in the past. Great artist. He kept the spirit of Ed Repka on our cover. He's a fan of Ed Repka's work, just like we are, and we just wanted to go a little different direction. And he captured the vibe for sure. And
it's a nice little tribute.
For sure, and the new record Toxic Grace came out in May of this year. We're getting ready. We're 1 week away for our record release show here in Los Angeles. We're playing with Whiplash. They're 40 years of Power and Pain release, and it's our record release show. Even though our record came out in May, we just didn't get a chance to tour or play any shows because I was in Europe with Body Count all of June and July. So we're really excited. We're 1 week away. The show is tickets are moving fast, and we're very excited about it. And we look forward to playing some new music off the new album.
I love the material. It was instantly eyes shut. Don't look at the artwork. Don't look at the logo. Definitely, immediately, Evildead. That's it.
Yeah, you know,
really old school.
We just try to do what we do, man. We just have fun and try to keep the spirit of Evildead in the music, you know, because we're fans of the music first and foremost. So this album was a little more controlled as far as speed. You know, we took our time with the production, and we worked with 2 different producers. I think we did a really decent job, and both producers, you know, upped our game a lot. So it's a solid record, man. It sonically sounds like one of our best releases, and we look forward to playing new material off it. It comes across live even better than it does on record, believe it or not. It just
that's awesome. It's often raw alive. Yeah.
You know what the main problem I don't want to say problem. The main obstacle that we have now is creating a live set list to play, because the catalog is deep now. So it's like,
yes,
we got to play stuff off Annihilation. We got to play stuff off you know, United States of Anarchy, and now we have a record release, so we have to play songs off that. And then wait, what happened in the Underworld songs? Okay, so man, it's not easy. I'll tell you, it's a challenge. It's a challenge.
But now you imagine you're Priest, and you've got like what? How many albums? 19 albums on your.
Yeah, they for sure. I mean, the bands that have bigger problems, right? Like Metallica and Iron Maiden. But for sure, yeah.
But
yeah,
I think
it's still a challenge. I'm telling you, it's a challenge.
It is a challenge, definitely.
Yeah, but you know, this is a record. Go ahead.
Sorry, I think Priest and those kind of bands are cursed anyway. If they don't, you know, they'll get lynched if they don't play the Green Man Alicia, or you know, which is a song, in my opinion, they could leave off the set permanently, and you know, but there are those fans that'll.
Yeah, they have to play Breaking the Law. They have to play Another Thing Coming. At least in America, they do.
Yeah, here as well. So.
Yeah, I get it, man. It's you know who's really good at picking set lists, creating set lists for live records, for live shows. I think Dave Mustaine does a great job with Megadeth. He does a good job. He comes out, they'll play 4 or 5 songs in a row. He won't even talk. They just go crank through 4 or 5, and yeah, they're really good at creating a live show of, you know, a compilation of songs to play live. And Metallica does a good job too, because they'll do special sets. You know, they'll do 2 nights and they'll play 2 different sets. So it's a lot easier when you're headlining. We're co-headlining with Whiplash, so the time gets a little more limited. But yeah, we got a good solid hour. We have a good solid hour of material that we'll be playing. So it's gonna be fun. I look forward to hanging out with the fans and Whiplash. You know, they're great friends of ours, and yeah, that's next Friday.
Is Joe Cangelosi still in Whiplash?
No, he's not. I don't know his name. Joe's a great drummer. Yeah.
Yeah, because he was on one Creator album, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he was
killer drummer.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. No, but I'm just touching on Megadeth. I saw them about a month or 2 ago, and it is just like you said. The set list was stellar. It was, and not too much yakking. They just went on with the business. And to my astonishment, a lot of people in that venue here in Germany actually chanted almost every song as loud as the band. It was I couldn't believe it. It was kind of
I mean, they were a great band. Dave Mustaine's a great guitar player, a great songwriter. I'd love to see him play with Metallica, like a few more songs. I know he did that a few years ago. It'd be kind of cool if they would do some kind of special set of early Metallica. That would be something.
That'd be actually quite cool. You know,
yeah, I don't know how Kirk Hammett would feel about it, but I think it would be kind of cool for the fans.
Yeah, but stuff they'd originally written together, that kind of stuff, you know, mechanics or whatever, enforcement, you know, all that stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, but now explain to me, how does your jump work to Body Count? How did that materialize?
I've been in Body Count now for 10 years, coming on 10 years. I was involved with this record company, and I was friends with Ernie C. and Vince, the bass player, and I kept asking them what was going on with the band, you know, and they were shut down for a little while after the passing of D-Rock. So okay. I kept in touch with them. Hey, what's going on with the band? I have this record label that's interested in the band. So they gave me a demo, and they, you know, they got a record deal off it with Sumerian Records, the Manslaughter record. And then they needed a guitar player for the live show. They were doing a show with Slayer in Austin, Texas at a festival. And I didn't even audition. They just kind of asked me, hey, you want to do a show with us? We need a guitar player. And I was friends with D-Rock, rest in peace. He passed away. So, you know, I did the show with them, and Ice just told me, you're in the band now, you know, just like that. I didn't have to audition or anything, and which is a relief, because I'm sure there's plenty of other guitar players that would love the gig. So, you know, I helped them structure and lock down a record deal, and then they needed a guitar player. It's really that simple.
Awesome.
How it came about. So since then we've released, you know, Manslaughter and the Bloodlust record, Carnivore, and now we got a new one coming out called Merciless.
So everybody, keep your eyes peeled for that Body Count record, and obviously Toxic Grace by Evildead. Check it out.
For sure.
But that means you're part of the songwriting fold in Body Count, or do you just fulfill live
yeah, that's a good question. On the new record, I help contribute to like 2 songs. A lot of the majority of the material, you know, Ernie and Ice write, and Will Putney, our producer engineer, is also involved in that, and Vince, of course, the bass player. I contribute ideas, guitar solos, and some parts to the new record. I helped co-write on the Black Hoodie song, and back in 2018. I'm not a prominent songwriter with Body Count, you know, but I do contribute.
Oh, that's killer, man! But I mean, that's quite a sweet setup at the moment. Huh? I mean,
it's not the way I planned it. I always wanted to be in one band. I didn't really, you know, picture myself jumping around from band to band, but it's kind of the way the cards played out. And, you know, I'm grateful to be doing what I'm doing. I'm playing with great musicians. I'm, you know, being involved with Body Count and Ice and Ernie and Vince and everybody else, the drummer Will, and it's great, man. It's a great positive experience, and also I get to, you know, on downtime I get to do the Evildead stuff, which I'm 100% into. So it's a lot of fun.
So do you ever get pressed for time? Does it get stressful? I mean, I'm just thinking, you know, it could happen. The one band calls, hey, we need to go on the road, or this or that. How does your calendar look?
Well,
or is it quite easy?
It's not you know, it's not that difficult. You just, I would like to be more busy with Body Count, but you know, Ice is filming Law and Order. You know, he's on the TV show. So when we have time, we do Body Count, and like I said, we did a Europe recently. That was great, and I look forward to doing some more shows. We got a show coming up, Louder Than Life Fest here in America, and the Aftershock Festival, which Slayer is also playing on in October. So I'm looking forward to some more Body Count shows. But yeah, you just gotta make sure your calendar's available and kind of go with the flow.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, I mean, some people are in a lot of bands, you know, like Phil Demo's got Category 7. He's playing with.
That is insane. That is insane.
He's playing with Carrie. I mean, he was in Violence. So he's a little more busy than I am. I'm and there's, like I said, I'm grateful to be able to do this.
Yeah, I guess there are always stages of more hecticness, definitely. If you look at someone like Phil, for instance, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I like to keep it simple, my friend. The
Yeah,
simpler the better. And I think 2 bands is enough for me, honestly.
Yeah. Now, I mean, you obviously know the old days of how we've talked about Morris Sound. I've done a little bit of live music in my life. I've done some recording as well. Also the old school way, analog, all that stuff. Technology is racing ahead. We're living in times where you have your DAW and you plug in and you have guitar presets, and it's almost like the good old amplifier. I've got a Marshall stack standing right here, and I'm looking at it and I'm going, yeah. My question is, obviously live, that is still a thing, but well, not to everybody. I mean, I've seen Tommy Victor from Prong on stage with a Kemper, and but he plays around quite a bit. So, but to get to the point is, when you guys go into the studio, is it still the classic scenario of meet at the studio, go in there, Neve desk, digital obviously, or is it more like sending I mean, some bands just send files.
No, on this record, what we did is we were on the grid, meaning we used a metronome on this album for sure. I think it helps a lot to keep everything together and tight. But we used real amps. I use not a Marshall. I used a EVH 50 watt. I use an EVH Eddie Van Halen 100 watt amp, and we use some Kemper stuff for solo. So it's a combination of digital and old school style too. So we used amps and some digital plugins. The Soldano plugins are really nice as well. But I'm kind of gravitating back to amps, man. I kind of like I'm really digging these EVH 100 watts in the Stealth model too for live. I mean, kind of gravitating to that. I have a Kemper as well. It just depends. It just depends if it's a fly show, you're flying in and you have your presets with you. So it just depends. In the studio, we like to use real amps with a combination of some plugins as well, because it does help. It gives a nice layer effect. So
I guess the positive thing is it's non-destructive. You know, you can always alter your, because once you've taken an amp, it's in there. I mean, you might have 3 mics, 4 mics,
right?
Like, but these days, I mean, you just take off the effect and you've got a clean guitar track. So,
right, yeah, the direct sound is always good. You can always reamp, so that's always a positive. So you could take the direct signal and run it through a real amp and see how you like it, how it sounds there. Exactly. Live, I'm using a real amp, EVH 100 watt. Ernie likes to use Kempers on this last tour. With Body Count, I use the EVH 100 watt, and it's just reliable, through two 412 cabinets. It's for live, and then for the studio, it's a combination of the EVH and some Kemper profiles. I also tried this Neural DSP on the last Evildead tour, which is a quad Cortex. That has some really nice presets. Really easy to use. So that's another one that's a game changer as well. That sounds pretty killer. So
it's crazy.
It's a good time to be alive. To a lot of great equipment. I mean, when I first started off, we were trying to hot rod Marshalls so they would sound good. And they were noisy as hell. And then now you got everything. Now it's all noise gates and a lot of digital, but I gravitate towards the real amps, but man,
I tell you what,
Kempers and Neural DSP stuff is awesome as well. So it's a little bit a combination of everything for me.
For you, it's like best of both worlds. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it is.
No, but if I think back, I mean, obviously first I had the albums by you guys, Agent Steel. I had the Anthrax albums, and that was also a big thing for me. I always wondered how Scott Ian and those guys got that chunk, that chunky sound. And then
I think those are 100 watt Marshalls, hot rodded, at least for Agent Steel and stuff like that. it was Marshall's hot rodded.
Yeah, must be.
For Anthrax, it's really also on the playing, the way Scott Ian, he's a great rhythm player, a lot of downstroke, and
it's the muting, eh?
Funky. Yeah, he mutes the hell out of it, and overdubs a few layers of guitar. Yeah, I know Anthrax is brilliant at recording. One of my favorite bands.
Yeah, look, a lot of it's also overdubs, but little did I understand of that when I was young. so I had the Age of Steel album or an Anthrax album, and I was always going like, hell, I just went out and bought this because there was nothing else available at the time. I bought I think it was a 30-watt PV Bandit.
Wow.
This little box.
Yeah.
And there was no gain button. There was just saturation.
Right.
Now this thing sounded like something maybe Eric Clapton could have worked with.
Sure.
But it didn't have the
Yeah.
So the disappointment was immense.
Right. Yeah. We invested in rewiring the amps and get that chunk. And we don't have, and the Age of Steel stuff it's more speed metal, not as chunky sounding as the Anthrax. Yeah. Those guys, they did an amazing job. And same with Metallica, they had a crunchy sound as well. Yeah, man. I mean, it's all you needed for your amp was probably an overdrive pedal, but it's a great time. There's a lot of great gear. A lot of the kids now like the digital stuff, and and I understand. Yeah. I understand that. It's simple, and it's I get it.
Yeah, absolutely. My son is an avid guitar player, and he's starting his own band now. But I keep telling him about the old days and everything, just so he keeps it in mind.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We had to lug around cabinets, right? Heavy ass cabinets and amps that weighed a lot. Now you get these kids, they just carry around their presets and they're ready to roll.
It's amazing.
That's it. And their guitar, they're ready to go.
Yeah, it's amazing, and the kind of sound results that kids are getting out of their bedroom, it's crazy.
Yes, technology has changed a lot. I mean, thank God for Pro Tools and Logic programs. You can do home recordings and that sound amazing nowadays.
So, do you how do you feel about the old days? It's obviously changed drastically. I mean, you had labels. Are you looking back going, damn, it was better back then? Or are you saying I'm more liberated nowadays with obviously streaming, and then obviously keeping in mind that, streaming is actually, in my opinion, what artists get is too little.
Yeah. Hey, yeah, man. I mean, look, first and foremost, I tell this to a lot of people, a lot of kids coming up and playing. You got to have fun. If you're not having fun, don't even do it.
And
Exactly. So you do it because you love music, first and foremost. Now, if you can make money at it, that's great. But I wouldn't quit a day job as a kid just to do music, right? You know what I'm saying? You got to have different revenue streams going on. But yeah, to me, I miss the old school days for sure. But it's 2024. There's a lot of great opportunity out there. You just got to be creative. The most important thing is have fun and write good music and go out and play live and do your thing. Put your message out there and have fun with it. Try to be as original as possible. And if you believe in your music, I think other people will believe in your music as well.
Okay, so I think you've got a very positive outlook on things, as I actually get with most people I speak to on the channel.
I try to keep it positive as much as possible,
So to conclude, I think I've got about most of my stuff covered. Let's just revisit Evildead quickly. Now, you mentioned you haven't really extensively played the new album yet, live?
Nope. So we will in 7 days from now.
Okay, but that's the US now, hey?
That's the US now. Now, while we were in Europe last year, we did play one new song called Bathe in Fire, which is on the new record. It was just remixed for the album. We were trying that out, and then we released a single last year. So that's from the new record. And then we actually have played 2 songs off the new record here and there, but extensively covering a lot of the material. This will be the first time where we'll be adding some more songs from the new record. No, I'm excited about it. We're also doing the California Death Fest with Sodom here in October, which we plan to play new material as well.
Wow. That was going to be my next question. I mean, what are the big festivals in the US? I mean, I know about Maryland Death Fest, but that's about where it ends.
Well, there's a Milwaukee Metal Fest. Milwaukee Metal Fest is back. Jamie Joust is running it, and he does a great job. He's one of the persons involved with it. I think he's doing a fantastic job. I got to see Dark Angel there a couple years ago with Biohazard. It was amazing. Let's see, Hell's Heroes in Texas, a great festival.
Okay, so you've got quite a few there, huh?
Yeah, there's a few for sure. Yeah, there's a few out here. Those are more like underground metal, but I mean, they're quite popular, actually, believe it or not.
How do you compare it from a scale? I mean, now you used to Wacken and possibly Partisan and those kind of ones. From a scale perspective, is it pretty much the same?
I think Milwaukee is a very important festival, and it compares to the festivals in Europe. And Hell's Heroes in Houston, Texas, is another one that has that spirit of Europe all over it. I think it's another great festival that they're doing there for sure. Those are very important festivals, I think. And there's a smaller one in Wisconsin called Blades of Steel. It's a little more underground, but it has the spirit of metal as well. You know, for sure, those are important. You know, and then of course the Maryland Death Fest. It's, you know, that has a little more death metal in it, but they also mix it up.
They spice it up, huh?
Yeah, they do. They do. And then there's a California Death. Those are all good ones. Those are the ones I'm mentioning are all good festivals in America. But, you know, again, Europe they're just the leaders of festivals, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's pretty much the mindset here. I think you have a very loyal following here in many ways. Countries like Greece have been coming big time over the last decades. In the 80s, Greece was unheard of. In terms of bands also, you know, and just a scene. So yeah. But
yeah.
Can you probably can't mention any European dates yet, huh?
No, but I'm talking to an agency right now that we're about to announce that we're joining with. So there's definitely going to be some shows next year, you know, and somebody brought it to my attention. It's a 35-year anniversary of Annihilation of Civilization. So so we plan to do something with that, right? I mean, why not? Let's have some fun and revisit that record. You know, we play a lot of songs off that album, but it'd be good to do a special set of a 35-year anniversary.
Oh man, that'd be killer. I'm going to people. If you're speaking to booking agents, I will take the liberty of sending you a link to a city that's nearby here, Hereford. They've got a lovely venue, Kulturwerk.
Yeah.
Maybe you could throw it in the ring.
Yeah, send it over and I'll forward it over.
Yeah, they just had Fear Factory, Biohazard, and Napalm Death, and so they've really sort of reinvigorated the place. It's been lying dormant for 20 years in terms of life. Really,
nice.
Now they really got new management again, and they're firing on all cylinders. So
that's awesome. Yes, please do, and then I'll forward it over to the booking agent. Yeah, we look forward to doing some shows in Europe next year, and we're also looking for the possibility of South America as well. And
always good.
Yeah, that's always good, right?
It always kills. Juan, man, it's been a pleasure.
Yes,
I've run out of ammunition.
Well, that's great. We finally got to do this. I'm sorry I was so busy and.
No worries about it. I'm sorry it didn't materialize last time. And to calm your nerves, we're still recording. It's good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you, my friend, and I appreciate your help and support.
I'll let you know when it's up. I'm obviously going to include all the links that I know of.
Yeah, we'll share it on our socials as well.
Across bands and all that kind of stuff. And I'll send you a link. It would be lovely if you guys share it on your socials as well.
We will.
Go well.
Thank you very much.
And have a great day.